Hello, welcome back. My name is Thea. I'm a knitter living in Glasgow, Scotland with my wife Greena and my two cats Kiska and Nanook. Welcome. It's been a long time, obviously. I will talk about that in a little life update if you're interested. But yes, finally doing another video after a long time. Yeah, so first of all I'll start by saying I always, put stuff in the description, everything that I'm talking about, like the patterns, the yarn, whatever. Also if I when I'm speaking, like if I say something that's really wrong, I will correct myself in the description. Often I'll watch myself back and if I'm talking about increases I'll say decreases and it really annoys me, but hopefully within the context you'll know that I was just getting mixed up. I'm dyslexic, so maybe that's why. Also I have chapters, which means I put timestamps. If you're not interested in a certain knitted thing that I've done, just skip right ahead to the next thing, or chop and change or whatever. If you're not interested in my life update, just skip right past it. I often do this with people, so I won't be offended. I'm also going to talk a bit about what this video is about. So my last video was talking about all of my summer knitting plans, where I just went through everything that I wanted to knit for summer. And for this one I am going to update you on what I actually knit for summer. I actually didn't look back at my list to see what I actually what my actual plans were, but in any case I'll just talk about what I actually knit for summer. So let's jump into a life update, because why not? I've been away for a long time, obviously. Also there's new people, so you're welcome to sit back and listen to what my life has been like for the last couple of months, which isn't very interesting to be honest. But anyway, so a couple of new fun stuff has happened. So I currently I'm unemployed due to illness reasons, but I'm slowly feeling able to maybe dip my toe in the water or doing stuff outside the house. Obviously I started my little, it's called Restart, and it's basically a subsection of the NHS that does little groups around Glasgow. I'm doing the health and well-being one, which is basically we get together, we do some sports. I am not a sporty person, nobody there is sporty people, so it's kind of fun to just be really bad at something. We're doing bowls, warm bowls in a couple of weeks, and I'm so excited. Anyway, so I started a volunteering role for a charity that helps women, ironically helps women not get a job, but if they've got an interview they'll get help with the interview process, and also they can pick out a full outfit to wear for their interview. So I have started there 3 weeks ago, working with the clothes, obviously not helping with interview skills because I don't have any. But yeah, so that's a massive step for me, because before I didn't leave the house, so now I'm starting to leave the house and it's completely shaken me. But slowly getting to a point where I feel I can maybe start adding a bit more to my plate, which could be a good or bad thing, we'll see. Waiting on a waiting list for the NHS for hopefully something exciting, but if anyone knows NHS waiting times, waiting lists, like just go on forever. So that's stressful. Hopefully I should start my first paid sample knitting job thing next week. The deadline for this first one is the 15th of September, and I've still, like, I don't even think they've decided the colourways yet, and I've not received the yarn yet, so hopefully I'll be able to finish that in time. We'll see. That's pressure. Yeah, also started getting help from another charity that helps with like people with mental illnesses, etc, etc, etc. So like I've really like I feel like I've taken on a lot. It might not sound like a lot to other people, but it's like massive to me. So anyway, that's kind of like a brief summary. Also, if there are new people here, I have bipolar, CPTSD and like BPD basically, and I am currently doing EMDR therapy with a psychologist. I keep saying EDMR, which is like electric dance music, and I said that in like a couple of podcasts ago, and Karina was like, you do know you just said like electric dance music, and I was like I actually put that on the internet, but it's EMDR. Anyway, so let's jump straight into the knitting. So I have got like a lot to show you. Well, let's just start with what I'm wearing. I'm pretty sure this was in my summer knitting plans, which is this. This is the So Summer t-shirt by Jessie May Designs. I shall stand up. Also, I'm filming on like my back camera on my phone. I can't see what you're seeing, so hopefully you can see. So it's just like a plain t-shirt. I'm not wearing a bra, so hopefully that's not like showing too much nipple. So this is obviously a t-shirt. It is knit in a fingering weight cotton. I jumped into a shop called Sostren Grin in Glasgow, and they sell like a little bit of yarn, a lot of cotton. Like this is 100% cotton from them in a fingering weight. I've wanted to knit something red. Obviously red is like a massive trend right now, or it is on like my algorithm, like that I'm seeing that a lot. But I always buy my yarn online just because it's easier. There's only really one yarn shop in Glasgow, and often like they don't sell what I'm looking for. So I buy yarn online basically, but red is like such like a hit on this. Like you can really go wrong with red. So when I went in, I knew I wanted to get some cotton to make a summer top. But that was like my only like brief. So there's so many colours, and I thought, seeing as though this is like one of the only times I'm gonna buy yarn in person, I saw this red and I was like, that's actually a good red. So I thought, oh, let's just get the red. So yeah, I really, really like this yarn. It's a very soft cotton. It was really nice to work with. I've worn it 2 times now, I think, and washed it twice, I think. Or once. I might have steam blocked it and then washed it again. Anyway, I feel like this is so soft it might start to bubble a little bit. That's just me like guessing, so I don't know. But I do really like this yarn. So about the pattern, I think I only made one modification, which was that I knit an extra like 1.5 inches maybe on the body before I did like its bottom up. So I knit an extra like maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. I think it was 1.5 inches. Because Jessie made patterns are like really cropped. Like from my experience, like a lot of them are like really cropped. So I wanted to add that extra length to make it like a true t-shirt length. It's still like a little bit cropped. It's not like really long. Ideally actually I might have knit it a bit shorter, but I do quite like it because I tuck it into my jeans. Anyway, so that was like the only modification that I made. It's quite rare that I follow a pattern completely, but that is what I did, which is like crazy. I think I must have knit the size 2. I knit this so long ago that I genuinely can't remember. That's bad. I also don't know if I've got a Ravelry page for this, so I'm just going to go out and say that I knit the size 2. I hope that's right. Really love this pattern. I love Jessamie's patterns. I've knit a lot of them. I've test knit 3 now, I think, which is fun, and I will then go on to talk about my next. I'm really struggling to get these words out for some reason. I'm going to jump straight into my next finished object, which is a test knit that I did for Jessie May. That was me trying to do the transition. So this is the Helix jumper, or it's probably called sweater. I can't remember. I'll have it linked in the description. This is it. It's like a lace, it's a rib lace pattern jumper knit on, I believe, sport weight yarn. This is Noro Sonata in Chartreuse. I could be wrong, but I have got a Ravelry page for this, so you can see if I'm right. I believe I also knit this in the size 2, however, I did not get gauge. My gauge swatch lied to me and it came out smaller, which I am not the biggest fan of. I feel like this lens, in my opinion, I would have liked this to be a bit more oversized and to have a bit more positive ease. But I do still really like the way it looks. It's one of my favourite like photo shoots. Like my favourite pictures of finished objects that have come out that I took of this one, or Karina took of me in this one. So let's talk about the yarn first. So it's a Noro yarn, and it's a 1-ply. Don't ask me what the fibre makeup is because I can't remember. But it's a 1-ply, and it was super like uneven in terms of like there were really thin parts and there were really thick parts, and the thick parts were like really thick. Like I am a fan of the uneven like hand-spun-esque type of a look, and even for me the big bits were too big and I had to keep cutting them out, which wasn't fun. And this is like, it's like plant-based, silky, with a bit of maybe like polyamide or whatever in it, so it's not wool. So when you sew in your ends, it doesn't grip the way wool does. And I hate sewing in ends that are like not wool or like not an animal fibre, because they just come undone, which is annoying, so you really have to be thorough. So anyway, I kept on having to do that. Also, I ran out of yarn. Well, I played Yarn Chicken so much so that I had like this much left, because maybe it's because my gauge was wrong. Like my gauge was tighter than it should have been, that maybe it used up more yarn. In my head that theory works, like in my head that makes sense, but in the end, like, I jumped back and forth between like the arms and the body, and like I used, like, my weighing scales were next to me the entire time. I was like weighing constantly to make sure I would have enough. Ideally I would have liked to knit the sleeves longer. I do like a long sleeve. The length I think is fine. I would have liked to knit it a little bit longer. I also, this is like, I've only, like, this is my first time using Noro. I have actually got another top using Noro Kakagori, but I wouldn't say I'm like an expert in Noro yarn. Like, I don't know if maybe the meterage is more of like a guesstimate, like, because obviously there were really thick parts. Like, I don't know if it kind of made the overall meterage less. Again, this makes sense in my head, but I don't know. Anyway, so yes, the pattern was fun to test. However, there were a couple of like big updates during the test. I had already knit past those points when those updates came along. So obviously, like, without the updates it was fine. I think a couple of them were for other sizes, and also she changed a little bit of something, like maybe the depth of the arm or something like that. Again, this was so long ago that I just can't remember. But so yeah, I think the final pattern is maybe slightly better than the version that I made. I would definitely recommend this pattern. It's like a very like easy lace and a fun lace. I did burn myself out making this. Now that I'm like sat here, I'm like, did I talk about this in my last podcast? Surely not. Maybe I did. No. Oh my god, I would kick myself if I have like spouted the same stuff that I said in my last podcast. I don't think I did, because that was a long time ago. Even though I did knit this a long time ago. I don't know. Anyway, I did burn myself out a little bit. Like, it did get a bit tedious. Like, I'm very much a like stockinette in the round is like, it really like fills my heart with joy. I love it. I do like breaking that up, obviously. Like, I can't do that all the time. That would be like crazy. But like doing an all over like lace is like, it becomes a slog for me. But obviously, because this wasn't like an oversized big thing, like, it could have gone a lot slower and I could have like really burnt myself out. But yeah, all that to say, I would really like to knit this again, obviously more oversized and in a yarn that's not like a one ply, because I feel like this isn't going to hold up very well, especially because it's not like the tightest gauge for that yarn, which worries me too. However, I have not worn this yet. It's just been too hot to wear like a knitted long sleeve thing. I've been wearing like knitted tank tops and knitted t-shirts like over anything else. Like, if I go out, like, this is not an inside the house garment. This is an outside garment, for me anyway. So yes, I feel like I spoke for ages about that. But I do really, really love it. I wish, well, hopefully I'll get more wear out of it in autumn, and I would recommend the pattern. So yeah, I'm going to pile everything up here. I've got a massive pile there. So I've not even like referenced my notes which I probably should because I wrote down so many things and I feel like I might have forgotten stuff that's in this pile, which would be annoying if I have. Okay, so let's go on to oh my god, I'm so indecisive. I'm trying to think what's like the most interesting because like, you know, I want to keep it interesting. But okay, let's go into my champagne cardi, which is obviously not like a typical summer garment. However, when I'm inside the like, I've worn this every single day. When I'm inside the house, it is like cool enough to wear a cardigan. Like, I'll wear joggies, a wee strappy top, and my cardigan every day that I'm in the house. So this has gotten a lot of wear. I will grab it. So this is it. That being said, I am really warm right now, probably because I've been running around trying to like set this up, and also I've not opened the window because I am sat in a room that faces the entire street and all of their windows face the entire street, so they're looking at me. I don't want them to look at me, so I'm gonna try and make them not hear me. Anyway, so this is my champagne cardigan. I will put on. I adore this cardigan so much. So let's talk about the yarn, because the yarn is kind of what makes it special. So first of all, the yarn that I bought for it was the Sanders Garn Double Sunday in black. I don't know. I've got a Ravelry page for this one as well, so you can check my notes and check my yarn and yardage and stuff. So I got that on sale, which is why I could afford it. But the mohair that I held with it is, oh my god. It was so long before I finished this, I actually can't remember it again. I think it's Lang Lace. Oh my god, I could be wrong. But anyway, that was gifted by a very, 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 very kind subscriber, so thank you so much. I wear this every single day, so it is not gone to waste. Like, I've really overworn this. I've actually, like, it's kind of crumpled because a couple of days ago I was like, I need to wash this. Like, it's gotten to a point where I'm like, I can't get away with this. So it's been like sat in my washing pile waiting for my next like wool wash. So also I've had to debubble this a couple of times. It is still bubbly. Okay, it's black, so I don't know how well that'll show up. It needs another debubble. I think because like the double Sunday is so soft, it's really like pilled a lot. I have also been wearing this every day, the whole day basically, so it's gotten a lot of wear. So this was my first time knitting a double knitted button band. I should also say that I pretty much followed the pattern exactly again, which is like crazy for me. Like, I don't do that. So that just speaks to like how much I like the pattern, or like how well it's written. Not that I'm like the basis of like, I know best, like I know how to write patterns the best. Like, I do not know how to write patterns the best, but just personally for me, for my like preference of how I like to knit garments or how I like them to sit on my body, like this one and this one, like they really, you know, live up to my standard. So yeah, the double button band, however, I had not done before, and since this I've started to knit a bag. It's my version of the Marie Clutch by Petite Knit again. I have bought the honeycomb clutch. Is it clutch or pouch or something? I can't remember. Anyway, I bought that pattern. I've knit 2 now. And I wanted to knit another one, a bigger one, but not the honeycomb pattern because it takes a long time. And I know she had another pattern similar that wasn't like a brioche. And I looked at it, I read the description of like what the stitch pattern was, and I thought the only thing that's different is the stitch pattern, and I'm pretty sure I can recreate that without having the pattern. And I knit a swatch and I like recreated it right the first time. I did end up doing my own version of the stitch pattern, however, so it is different, but obviously not like different enough that it's like a completely different thing, and I could write my own pattern for it because it's completely different. It's just like me trying to copy it, but it's slightly different. Anyway, in the process of knitting that bag, it's like a double knit bottom, you pick up stitches, you knit up, and double knit tabs and stuff like that. That's like the premise. And when I was knitting that, I realised that one side of my double knitting was neat and the other side was like bigger stitches and uneven. No matter how like much I tugged on those stitches, it was still like big stitches, which was annoying. But anyway, in that process I realised the side that starts with a slip stitch that's a tongue twister, is the neatest side for me. And I wish I knew this before knitting this, however it has blocked out so you can't really see, because for this side was the side that started with a knit stitch, so it was my most uneven side, but it's blocked out like I was saying. But if I was to knit another double knit button band, I would start the row with a slip stitch to make that edge neater, because as I was knitting this I was like, this looks awful, that edge is just like so ripply, it's like a lot, like this side when it was attached was like sitting flat and sitting nice, this side was like going like this because it was like so much bigger. But now that I know that, I'm excited to have another go at a double knit button band, and I will be knitting this pattern again because I wear this every single day, and it turns out that cardigans are like my most worn things, because most of the time I'm in the house, especially like this time of the year, it's nice to have a cardigan that you can literally like, if it's too hot you can just go like this, or if it's too hot you can just like put it over your shoulders, or if you're on sofa you can just like put it like this and just like chill. So it's like really the style for me. So yes, I really want to knit another one, and also I really love that mohair that I use for this. It's like the softest mohair, and also it's like really thin, so like for a 25 gram I think it's like 310 meters, like compared to a drops mohair for like 25 grams it's like 210 meters, so that's like 100 meter difference, so it's like super thin mohair. But I actually really like that. It's like a mohair garment that's not like mohair, if you know what I mean. It's not like overwhelmingly like fuzzy, which I actually really like. Like I love knitting with mohair, but it's actually really like refreshing to have like a more subtle mohair garment. I don't know if that's just like me, but I feel like that's like what like the fabric has ended up knitting up like. It's actually dangerous because I'm like hooked on nice mohair now. It's like a problem. But I feel like I'm kind of slowing myself down in my knitting in terms of like, I take a lot of breaks now. There are some days where like maybe I won't knit as much. Obviously I'm out the house more now, so maybe on those days I'll only knit for like an hour maybe, because the rest of the time I'm like overwhelmed with like socializing, and I'm just like sat on the sofa like this and not talking, not doing anything, like completely like zoning out. So on those days it's like hard to knit. So I feel like maybe like based on how long the project will it's like a give and take on like how much you spend versus how much time you spend knitting it. Like if I was to make, like, for example, this, I got this on offer. Actually, I think this was maybe like £22 altogether. Full price it would maybe have been like £40. I could be making that up, but that's actually not a good example. Basically, say this took like 10 hours and I spent £100 on it. Like, that's a lot of money to be entertained for 10 hours. Whereas if I was to get this is like me completely making up the hours, by the way. If I was to spend £100 on this and spend like 50 hours doing it, like, that's a lot more entertainment for the same price. Am I making sense? I hope so. I hope, like, sometimes when I talk I forget what I've already said, and then I'm like explaining something but I actually don't even know where I started. But hopefully that makes sense. Basically, if I'm a slower knitter, I can spend more money on something because it would be the same thing of like if I was spending like a little less but making like loads of items. Does that make sense? Anyway, so it's not like your typical summer garment, but it's the one that I've worn every single day. Maybe that talks to like how cold, like how much of a summer we've got in Scotland, or has in Scotland. But in any case, I adore this. I wear it every single day, and I would very much recommend, like, knit a cardigan. Like, I would recommend this pattern. I would also recommend the Cottage Cardi by Jacqueline Cieslak. I did, however, buy that Cottage Cardi on offer, and I know that her Jacqueline Cieslak, her patterns are a bit more pricey compared to, like, say, Bettina, but that pattern is like beautifully like written, and also the sizing is great, etc, etc. You can really tell that it's a really like well thought out pattern, so I'd recommend that pattern even though it's like a bit more pricey, and maybe like wait until she's got a sale or something. But this is a really nice pattern too. So this is like your, what's the word, sign to knit a cardigan. They're amazing. I used to be so put off because it's like back and forth, but for me, I'm an English like flicker, and honestly, like, the motions for doing a purl stitch is like very similar, so it's not like massively like, ugh, like I'm doing a completely different motion and it's like really not getting into a rhythm. Like, I can get into a rhythm and it's fine, and I love the outcome, so it's like a motivation to do it anyway. Oh my god, I feel like I'm doing adverts for cardigans. Okay, so let's move on now to all of the tank tops that I've knitted this summer. There are so many tank tops that I've knitted this summer, all of them looking like identical but in different yarns and different ways of knitting them. So let's start off with the OG first one that I knitted. I've got them all like on hangers because we got a wardrobe. It's massive, like massive. It takes up like half the room. But we have not had a wardrobe in this house. We've had like a little cupboard that has like a rail that we've put a couple of pieces on. This is like a wardrobe with like of lots of space. So I've started to hang stuff up, and it's amazing because I hate ironing, and it means I don't need to iron a lot of things. So anyway, so let's start off with the first tank top that I knitted, because that kind of spurred on all of the other ones, as will come apparent. So I don't know again if this was in my last summer knitting plans. I don't think it was. But this is the Thea top by, I can't remember, Susan Miller. That, for some reason, that came into my head, but I think that's wrong. Anyway, this is the Thea top. I checked out this pattern a while ago, but for some reason I thought it was in I thought it was knit out of like a single strand of knitting for olive silk, and I thought, no, I can't be bothered to knit a whole tank top in such thin yarn that I don't even know if I'd wear, because tank tops, like, I'd not worn these before, so I didn't know if I'd like them, and it was really like a gamble. So anyway, I stumbled across the pattern again, and I realised it was knit out of, I think the original is Sandnesgarn Lin or Line or something like that, which is like a DK or Aran weight, I think. But like a more affordable dupe is Drop Spell, which is like exactly the same fibre makeup, just a lot cheaper. So I decided to knit it. So this is like, also I think because this yarn was on offer at the time, I just thought, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I wanted something quick. I wanted like instant gratification. So I decided to knit this. So I think I knit, oh my god, do you know what, I'm not even gonna guess what size I knit. Maybe it's like the second size again. And this is a top down, so you start with the back, then you knit the front, so you join in the round, you knit it down. Now I followed the pattern almost exactly, however there are a lot of changes I would make to this pattern. I don't think it's the best pattern in terms of the shaping. I'm gonna put this down, it's actually really heavy. So in fact, let me show you the bottom, because this is like so as you can see, the front rides up, which is fine because it's long enough. I do a French tuck and like it's not super obvious. But basically there's no like short rows in the back, and the front isn't knit longer, so you know, it gives that shape for the shoulders, which means like it's just being pulled back the entire time, and it drops back like so much. If I was to knit this pattern, or yeah, if I was to knit like write this pattern, I would do some short rows at the back. I would then make the front bits longer, so that, you know, it accounted for that drop at the back, so that it all, you know, was the same length. I have knit another version which I will show you, because I tried to remedy the problem, however it still doesn't. So this is the Noro Kakagori top that I was talking about before. Karina actually said that she wanted to buy me some yarn. I was like, do you know, I've always wanted to try this yarn and I want to knit another tank top. So I was like, I want this. She chose the colour though, and it's like a proper lilac. The sun has just come out and it's kind of like a weird lighting, because I'm like the window's there, so it's like coming like this, or I don't know if it's going to be the best like colour representation. But anyway, it's like a really gorgeous colour and I think it suits me. Anyway, so I was knitting this. I knit the front longer. I didn't do any short rows at the back, but I did knit the front longer. I also dropped the armholes down just because I like that look. But I did a total of 4 short rows, so like 4 extra rows, and down the front, like only on the front half, so that would drop down the front. However, like it's still rolling up, like riding up, which is so annoying because I knit this one more cropped, so it's not really a proper French tuck length, so it's really obvious. So I think I'm gonna go back and add length to this one, just to make it a bit more wearable. I might not. I think I've not worn this one out yet because I didn't finish it that long ago. So I think I'm gonna wear it and see how it goes, and if not, add length, just to try and hide that problem a little bit. But that would be my only like warning if you want to knit this pattern, is like if you can, I would tweak it so that the short rows at the back and you knit the front longer. I completely lost my train of thought there. Or like you do the short rows at the front. But I do really like this pattern, and it's up so fast because it's like I think it's an Aran weight yarn, so it's like instant gratification. So that's my first that's my 2 hand knit versions. I've been like I've been really wanting to get into, like properly get into the machine knitting. I've got like a knitting machine and I really want to try and get into it. Whenever I tell someone like I'm unemployed, like I really want to like think about getting into work, and they're like, why don't you sell your knits? And I'm like, I don't think many people will buy them, and also if I was to sell them for like, if I was to like pay myself living wage, like you'd sell things for like £500 like plus if I was to hand knit. But if I could machine it, I could sell things a lot cheaper because it takes less time. I have hypermobility and I feel that a lot in my shoulders. So when I first I knit my first jumper because I bought Amber Heard's crew neck jumper workshop. She's like a machine knitter who sells her own stuff and makes lessons, like video lessons that you buy online. And I knit my first jumper like that from that, and I really hurt my shoulders. So then I was like quite upset because I was like, I'll never be able to like knit stuff on the machine without hurting myself. However, I bought Karina like a back brace for Christmas, and I thought, what if I wear that, because it'll kind of like keep my shoulders like from like pulling out, and it'll kind of keep them, you know, secure. So anyway, I wore that and like my shoulder pain went down like maybe by like 60%, which is like massive. I think maybe as I build up those muscles around like the tissue, like that will help with the pain as well. So if anyone like feels pain when machine knitting, I would highly recommend like a back brace. It's over there, I'm just gonna get it just if anyone's interested. It's like a super basic one. It's literally like a little jacket but you put that like that stuck on my head. You wear it like that. It's not like the cutest, but so yeah, it's like not expensive, and I would really recommend it. Obviously it's like adjustable, like with how big you want it as well. Anyway, so if you're interested in machine knitting and get pain, I would check that out. Anyway, massive tangent. So yeah, I wanted to write my own pattern for the machine and really like test out those things that I learned from her lesson about, like, you know, she teaches you the maths of how to, like, you know, write your own pattern, and about like shaping and loads of things that I can't remember right now. So I decided to like put it into motion, and I wanted another one of those tops, but I wanted it in a thinner fabric, so it was a bit lighter and a bit more wearable for those hotter days. So I bought some cotton from eBay that was like, for how big was the cone? Maybe like 200 grams, I think. Something like that, and it was like £6.80 for that cone. So I thought it's not like a massive risk in terms of like I would be spending like £20 to make something that I maybe wouldn't wear, or maybe wouldn't go right, or I'd have done the maths wrong and it would be like completely like the wrong size and fit really weirdly. So I decided to buy that, write a pattern, knit it, and just see what happens. See if I like it, see if I can like go ahead and like really seriously think about maybe selling some of my knits. Like, I don't know if anyone would be interested. I see a lot of like small, like, you know, one person owned businesses that sell knit stuff that say like they're struggling and you know, with sales, and you know, people aren't really wanting to pay a lot of money for like a piece of clothing. But if I can make like enough money to fuel my like hobby knitting, like the yarn for like everything that I knit as a hobby, like that would be amazing. Like, I am like on the like hardly getting any money at all. Like, you know, it's all going on rent and food and bills and stuff. We have some left over, obviously, to like, you know, maybe go out every now and then, or like buy myself some nice yarn every now and then and stuff. Like, we're also really good at saving up. Like, I think it came from like those like 2 or 3 years I lived in Orkney of like being super depressed, not being able to leave the house because there's nothing to do, not wanting to leave the house, nothing to spend our money on because like we're too depressed to do anything. Like, I didn't really knit back then, so it wasn't anything that we spent money on. So we really like did nothing, saved so much, moved back to Glasgow, got ourselves a flat, you know, bought all the furniture. Now we have all the furniture. So oh my god, this is like a proper tangent. Back to the knitting. You didn't need to know that. Back to the knitting. So I knit up my first like self-drafted machine knitting pattern that I completely wrote myself. Like, everything that I wrote was from my own head, my own maths. And this is the outcome. Can you even tell the difference between this one and my hand knitted one? Like, obviously I didn't, like, I copied completely the shape of this compared to this. It even looks like the same yarn. It's not. Like, this is 100% cotton, this is drop spell, which is like linen, cotton and viscose. This is like Aran, this is like thin fingering weight, I think. And obviously this is knit on the machine. It's like, I did the short rows at the back, I knit these longer, the increase no, the decreases are different. It's not bottom up, it's seamed, you know, these are seamed, the sides are seamed. So I took nothing from the actual written pattern, but I did take like the shape and the look of it from you know, the final finished garment. So I don't know if I would be able to sell these, because it is literally like a recreation of the look of it. Obviously it's like a different pattern and I completely wrote the pattern myself, but like it is a copied design, if that makes sense. But I'm happy like that I did it and that I made it for myself, because I really like it. I finished this the other day, so, and I washed it and it's been drying and it took ages to dry, so I've not worn it out yet. However, I probably will wear it out in a couple of days because I love it. It's a lot thinner, a lot lighter, a lot more wearable. I'm yet to cut off the ends there. So yeah, I am so proud of myself. I don't know if anyone would be interested in this, but I have filmed like the entire process. And I do think I'm gonna put out a video anyway, even if like nobody's interested. But of me making this from like the maths to the actually knitting it, to the sewing up the seams, to the gauge swatch, yeah, everything that's involved in writing up and knitting your garment on the knitting machine. So I'm really, really, really proud of myself. I think it's really impressive how similar it looks to the actual like my first like version, or the hand knitted version. Like I've even impressed myself with how well I've managed to recreate it and how well I wrote the pattern. Also, one thing that I wanted to eliminate from this one was the fact of I didn't want it to drop at the front, and it doesn't. I mean, right up at the front, and it doesn't. Like, look at that. I don't know if you can see, but like the hem is like the same all the way around. I'm like, I actually like did the maths for that. I actually wrote the pattern for that. So yeah, and then I was like, oh, that was fun, let me knit another one. So I knit another one, and I finished in fact I knit the entire thing yesterday. I wrote the pattern, like I did all the maths yesterday, and then I knit up the pattern yesterday. Like I did all of that in a day. If I could sell that for like, honestly, like, I don't know if people would buy this for like, obviously I'd have to knit like a different pattern because it's very much like a copy of another person's design. But if I was to knit like a vest top in a day and make like £50 on that, like that's a lot of money to me, like a lot of money. So if I was to like sell like one a week or something, like that's like more than covering buying yarn. And like I could like, you know, go out, maybe have a meal out and stuff like that. I keep going back to money, but I think it's really interesting because nobody talks about it, and yeah, nobody talks about it, and I don't know why. So I like to talk about it just because, like, end the stigma and stuff like that. Anyway, so I wrote the pattern in a day, I knit the pattern in a day, I have not washed it, I have not blocked it, so it's lumpy bumpy, so don't judge. Also, the reason why I had to rewrite the pattern is because this is a different yarn, it's a different weight of yarn. Also, I changed the measurements a little bit. This is a little bit bigger, the arms are a little bit deeper, and the neck is a little bit shallower. So it is, you know, overall it is different, but maybe too subtle for you to notice, but I notice it. So when I wash this, like, it should even out. It's actually like looking pretty even like just now, even though like my other version really didn't look even. Like I really had to like wash and block that for like the rib to like settle and shrink up and not like ripple out. You can kind of see it at the back here with it like pulling down, like that will like lay flat and it'll all like smush together. But yeah, so I've had this yarn in stash for like maybe like 4 years. Like I think it was my parents that bought me it. But it's on a quote and it's the Yeoman. I hate pronunciations. I cannot like show me a word that I've not seen before and I will not be able to like pronounce it. Like I just don't understand the English language. I don't understand like pronunciation. I don't understand any other language. It just doesn't make sense in my head. Anyway, and it's the 50% cotton and 50% acrylic mix. Obviously in like the white. Yeah, I just had it in stash and I wanted to knit up another one and tweak the pattern so it was perfect because I love doing that. And I'm excited to wash, block and wear that, although it's like really white. I'm like thinking in my head, should I like over dye it, but then it's got acrylic in so it won't take the dye very well, so I'm like maybe not. Anyway, I have actually got another thing to show you, but it's in my chest of drawers, and which means I'll have to go down there and fish it out. And honestly, I hate editing, so there might be like a bit of a wait here, but I'm gonna get it anyway, so please bear with me. I'll put a timestamp to skip past it. And that was very dramatic for me being away for like a second. I thought it was right at the bottom, but it's not. So let's move on to, I think this was in my summer knitting plans, I could be wrong, but this is, like it's not like a typical summer knit again, it's like wool and mohair, so it's really not. But it is the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. So I have knit one of these before, and I really love it. It's one of my most worn like outside, like it's an outside garment. I have indoor garments and outside garments, and that's an outside garment, and it's like a black version. It's like the yarn that I used, like the main yarn was like an aubergine black, and then the mohair I held with it was like a really dark grey, but it reads as like a high-end black, so I really like it. Also fits really nice. So I wanted to knit another one because I wear it all the time. My black version is using a strand of lace weight wool yarn. This is a fingering weight wool yarn with a mohair. So this is again a super special garment because of the yarn. So here in, I don't know if it was just Scotland or if England did this as well. I think Ireland maybe did this last year. I don't know about Wales even. I don't know. But anyway, every household got given a voucher to spend in store. Like it's like loads of like stores participated and you could spend that money in their store, but like in person it was like to get you to like shop on the high street, I guess. And one of the shops that like took the card was the Yarn Cake, which is like the main like yarn shop here in Glasgow. So I had to go and spend it there. There was also like Boots took it and stuff. That would be like the sensible thing to do, is to like, you know, buy like sensible things, but I was like, I'm gonna buy it, like I'm gonna spend it buying stuff that I would never buy myself. So I bought the main fingering weight yarn from there. The main fingering weight yarn is, for the love of yarn, I think it's like merino yak silk blend in the colourway shortbread. It's quite like an orange colour for shortbread. Like, to me, shortbread is like not this orange, but anyway. And the mohair that I held with it is Knitting for Olive soft silk, or I think. So because I got the main fingering weight yarn for free, basically, I decided that I was gonna spend like my usual jumper budget on the mohair, because this is like, it's quite a loose gauge and it's like pretty fitted, like it's not really oversized. I think I only needed 4 balls of mohair, so actually it was like affordable for a full jumper. It was affordable. So I decided to get Knitting for Olive mohair because I've always wanted to try it. Like, the ethics behind it is really great, but obviously it's a lot more expensive than Drops, so it's not like within my budget. I also wanted to get some Knitting for Olive silk because I wanted to knit a summery something using the silk. I said this in my knitting plans that I think I wanted to knit I would pronounce it as Melodies, but I think it's Melody. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. By Vert Knit. I was thinking of knitting that in the soft silk. But so I was originally gonna buy my mohair, like my Knitting for Olive stuff, from the knit website, which is like knit.co.uk. But I was looking at the Knitting for Olive, and it was like, you know, it was expensive. It was like £9 a ball for mohair, and I was like, I kept like leaving the tab open, going back to it and going, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. And then like one day I looked and it had gone up to like £9.50. I was like, I can't do it, like I just can't do it. So then I was like, let me look at that actual Knitting for Olive website, and it turns out it's like a lot cheaper to actually just buy from the website. So I decided to get the mohair and to get the silk. Because it was cheaper, I was like, let me get another ball of the silk and actually knit something bigger than just like a vest top. And I'll talk about what I knit with it next. Also, like, this is a tangent, so skip forward if you're not into tangents. But I bought the double Sunday for my champagne cardigan from Knit. It was like Knit with 2 T's, I think. And they kind of messed up my order in terms of like, they sent it out but they gave me a tracking number for a different parcel, and like it said it arrived when it hadn't, and like it was all messed up. And I messaged them and I was like, hi, like what's going on, like it said it's arrived but it's not, like is it lost, blah 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 blah. And like they were quite like blunt about it and almost like made me feel it was my fault. And I was like, oh, like they weren't like particularly nice to me about it, and it kind of it kind of like hurt more, because you see like a good handful of like, especially like UK podcasters, and they're like, oh, she's my best friend. She's really nice to me, and she's like, you know, she sends me stuff for free and she's always like so nice. And I was like, what's wrong with me? I was like, why is she not being nice to me? But anyway, maybe I just caught her on like a bad couple of months, because I tried to message her before that for like an inquiry about something on the website, and she didn't message back. And then a couple of months later I bought that yarn, and obviously I was weird, and so I don't know, maybe it's just she didn't like me. I don't know, even though I just said like my parcel said it's arrived and it's not, like, help. Anyway, so that's one of the, like, that's why I was like, maybe I won't buy from her again, maybe I'll, like, so when I seen it was cheaper on Knitting for Olive, I was like, okay. So anyway, now that I know that, I think if I'm ever gonna splurge again, like, Knitting for Olive, like, is kind of like a good company for me because of like the ethics behind it. Like, I know like the silk and the mohair is like ethically sourced, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, all that to say that this is like really lovely quality. I've not washed and blocked this yet, which is why the bottom's like curling up. But yeah, the actual like fingering weight yarn is so luxurious. Like, it's like yak and silk and stuff. Like, it's really soft and silky, and the mohair is really soft too. It is super soft. It's not as, I would say it's not as soft as like the lang lace that I knit the champagne cardigan with, but it's still like super soft. I love it. Obviously I've not worn this yet. I've not blocked it yet, even though I finished it a couple of weeks ago. The only well, actually I did a lot of modifications, I'm not gonna lie. So I knit this a lot deeper. I knit this a lot deeper. I changed the increased rates. I think you call it a compound raglan. I did ask what it was called in my last one, I think, and a couple of people told me, and now I'm like, what was it called? Compound raglan, maybe? I knit the sleeves. So I knit the body for the size 2, I knit the sleeves for the size 1. I knit this deeper. I used a bigger needle for the I-cord, so it didn't cinch in. For the bottom, I didn't do any decrease for the I-cord. For the sleeves, I didn't do any decreases for the I-cord. And I probably changed the length of it too, because who doesn't? But yeah, overall I do really like that pattern. However, for my personal body and my personal preferences for garments, I did do a lot of changes to it, but if you're up for it, go for it. So on to what I believe is my last object, which is actually a whip. It's the only whip I'm going to show you. I have got another sweater, but it's like kind of, well, I've got a blanket as well actually, so let me just talk about that as well, why not? So, which are both whips. So my next whip is what I knit with the, or am knitting with the Knitting for Olive silk. So this is the Umbria summer top, Umbria something. Oh, this is the Sustren. I had to use like 2 grams of this to finish it, but I think it's maybe like £1.60 a ball, or £1.80 or £2 or something like that. So so that's fine. Anyway, so yes, about this. So this wasn't my summer knits plans, however I said I probably wasn't going to knit it because it's on small needles, it would take forever, and I don't know if it's worth it because, yeah. However, I was like, do you know what, I am actually in the mood for small needles, and is it broken rib this is called? I actually even can't remember, but this is how far I've gotten Oh my god, it's so hard to show you. Can you even see? I have one more buttonhole to like, one more, I need to knit. I only have like this much to knit, but oh my god, I have stalled so many times on this. I've gotten bored so many times of this. I've been like, oh, so many times on this, but I really love it and I really want the finished object, but I just keep like going to like different projects and be like, no, I'll knit on this instead, which is super annoying, but I have enjoyed it. I think one of the reasons why is that my gauge is like wildly off, so I had to rewrite the pattern. What's new? So I had to rewrite the pattern to like, I think I had way too many rows, so I had to rewrite the increases and do the measurements and the maths and stuff like that. So that was kind of like and also like, oh, I hope I've done it right. So yes. Queen just got up. So yeah, again I'm stalled on this. However, I already have like this much to knit again, but I just keep getting drawn to other things. I'm really excited to have the finished object. Oh, another thing that I've changed is for the button bands, she just like goes ahead and just knits all the edge stitches, but I'm slipping the edge stitches just to have like a neater edge, which I think is working. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about this because I've not finished it, I've not worn it. I can talk about knitting with like the silk, the knitting for olive silk, because I've heard like quite a oh my god, what am I trying to say? Like I've heard different opinions from a couple of people who've knit with the silk from Knitting for Olive, but this is just my my, oh my god, what's the word? Experience. So it's not like when you think of silk, it's like soft and like flowy and shiny and like, you know, but this is like matte and it feels very much like cotton. Like if you were to hand this to me and say this is a cotton yarn, I'd go, yeah, it's a cotton yarn. It's not bouncy, so it hurts to knit with, which is probably another reason why like I'm not like pure motivated to knit this. But I really like the finished I really want the finished object. And I do really like the fabric that it's knitted up. It's like drapey, it feels nice, but it's dry and it's matte, and that's not to say it's bad. Like I do actually like those I like the matteness of it, but just when you think of silk, that this isn't particularly what you think of. It's very much like knitting with cotton, and that does hurt my like knitting with cotton hurts my hands. So yeah, I sound like really down about this yarn. Like it's a really nice yarn and I'm excited to have a garment made out of it. Like it is a luxurious yarn, like it's 100% silk, but just if you're curious to like what it feels like to knit with, like it's very much comparable to cotton, just like a really thin cotton. So yeah, that's that. I'll wait until it's like a finished object to give my final thoughts about it. But yeah, I really want it as a finished object, but I just can't be asked to knit like 2 more inches on it, which is stupid, I know, but what can you do? So my very, very final object, I won't talk long about it because I've probably been talking for ages. It is the Excavation blanket, which I know quite a few people have started to knit, are knitting. And honestly, I got influenced, and also around about the time of like knitting that top and finishing a couple of things and getting bored of other things, I was like, I want to knit with wool. Like, this was cotton, that was cotton, that was cotton, this was plant, well, I wanted to knit with wool. Purely, like, I love knitting with wool, and also, like, just to, like, give my wrist a break, because, like, it really takes a toll, like, knitting with, like, plant-based yarn, for me, anyway. And I was just, like, craving wool, because that's my go-to, like, that's my favourite, like, is, like, wool or alpaca or mohair or whatever. Anyway. So, this is how far I have gotten. It's massive. It's not as big as what I want it to be though. I want it to cover a double bed with like overhang. It's massive though. But I really want this to be like a proper like I really want this to be like a, you've put in like hundreds of hours and this is like something that you'll keep until like you die. Like I want that to be what this is. I want this to be that. So this is obviously like so many different kinds of yarn. I have loads of scraps. Just from like people giving me yarn or just having a little bit left over from projects, like etc. Like however, like see when you start knitting, it's short rows. Then as you like increase, like the rows get bigger. And I was what? Yeah. What? Remember to mention the arm festival. Right. Are you going to edit that out? No, I can't be asked to edit it. What did you try and drink from them? Okay, it's fine. Yeah, and because my yarn scraps weren't like some of the, like a lot of them weren't like really big. Like as I was going up, I was only able to knit long rows using only basically using less and less different colours, if that makes sense. And anyway, Drops had a sale on Wool Warehouse, so I decided to buy a couple of balls of yarn for this. I only maybe spent about £25, not even, I think maybe like £20 on yarn for this. The rest is scraps, but I wanted to get like a variation of colours as well, just because like my colours were getting like less and less varied. So I wanted to get some bright colours, some different colours that I'd had like no colours of scraps in and stuff like that. Also different fibres, like this is it's wool, like wools, alpacas, mohairs, there's only a couple of rows of like cotton yarns and stuff like that, so it is mainly like animal fibres. I don't even know if there's any acrylic in it. If there is, then it's like a sock yarn kind of a thing. So yeah, I'm excited to carry that on. I have, like, when I first started, I was really like racing along, but it's actually been really nice to like pick it up and in between projects and get excited about it again and then getting bored of it again and then picking it back up again. Like, hopefully this will get finished by the end of the year. I think it's like the perfect project to pick up and put down, just because like if you do just like 1 or 2 rows, like it feels like progress, because obviously it's different colours and it really like spurs you on. So yeah, that's my final project. It's not like a summer project really, but it's something that I've been knitting on anyway. So yes, let me just shove that back. So I will end it there because I've not got any acquisitions. Karina was just telling me to mention the Scottish Yarn Festival because I will be going. I've not been to a yarn festival before, so it's gonna be exciting. It was my birthday like a couple of weeks ago, so I've saved my birthday money to spend there because I have a feeling like you can't go to a yarn festival and not buy yarn. So yes, hopefully I will find some nice yarn. My goal is to get like Scottish yarn, like that would be great. I'm excited to like maybe see a couple of people in person, like be like like it's so weird to think like you just watch these like random people in your house and then to like realise that they're real people, like that's like bizarre to me. But anyway, like if anyone's going, let me know. If you see me, let me know. Come up to me. I'm a bit awkward, but it's always nice to talk to new people and introduce yourself and all of that. I'm not good in social situations, but I do like meeting new people weirdly. I'm going with Karina. Sometimes I feel like, see, because like you only see my face, or like if you're watching a podcast, usually like you only see their face. To then like see them in person, like you might recognise their face, but you don't recognise their body. So then you're like, is that actually them? Like, does anybody else get that? So this is me. Also, Karina cut my hair last night. I think she got off like 4 inches, and then I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like it. So I do like different, I guess, already just from that. Anyway, so if anyone's going and they see me, please come up to me, because that's cool. Like, how cool is that? I'll be saying this and like nobody will even know who I am there, and I'll be like, I make videos on YouTube, like, do you know me? Anyway, so I'm excited for that. I think that is not next weekend, but the weekend after. Don't quote me on that. I'm getting a bus up and everything. Like, oh my god, I need to think about what I'm gonna like bring to knit on. I'm going to wear my Ching fibre. Is it called the Simply Wave top or something like that? Because it's like an impact in it. Like you look at it and you go, and I like that about it. It's one of my favourites I've knitted, but I don't get to wear it a lot because it's, I don't, sometimes you have those garments where it's like, sometimes it's like you have to really hit the right weather to wear it, but I'll wear like a vest underneath it so I can just take it off if I get hot or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully I'll see at least somebody there. I'm excited to like feel the yarn, squish the yarn, and I'll probably be like writing a list of like yarn that I want to buy in the future, because obviously I'll get to like touch it and feel it, and you can't do that online. So I'm probably going to be writing a list, maybe a Christmas list, and then hand it out to people and be like, I felt this, I liked it, please get me it. So anyway, I might film, maybe. Is anyone actually interested in that? I don't know. Maybe I'll film it, and if I end up like not buying anything, or I look back at the footage and it's like, that's not interesting, then I won't post it. But I feel like it's like a big thing for me. I've never been to anything like this, so yeah, that's exciting. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I feel like I never say that, but it's free. You don't have to turn notifications on, so you don't need to see me again if you don't want, but that would be nice. I love getting new subscribers, although I never ever look like, see with like the YouTube studio thing, like when you look at like all your uploads and you go to put like the description and things, and like you click on YouTube studio and like the first page that comes up is like a graph of like, are people actually watching? When people clicked off, do they like it? Blah blah blah, who are they? And I'll click on YouTube studio like this. Like I will cover everything and I'll just go to the side to like, you know, write the description or whatever. I'll just be covering it like this. So sometimes Karina will go, oh, you had this many views on that video. I'm like, oh my god, that's cool. Or like, you got this many subscribers. I'm like, oh. But I never look because sometimes it can be depressing to like see that like people clicked off like 10 minutes in. And then I'm like, I don't want to make any more videos. So yes. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you very soon, because I have got, you know, actually I'm thinking like, what am I knitting on now? I'm gonna make that video of me making the machine knit top. What else? Maybe the yarn show thing, and oh, that's it. I'm gonna do a fall knitting one. Like what I'm gonna knit in fall. Oh my god, am I American? Why am I saying fall? I think it's because I've literally seen oh my god, is it Rachel? I don't do names, I forget names. I'm surprised that I even remember my name. From Woolsey, formerly, like, not formerly, used to be known as Night Sky Knitting. I think it's because she just posted a video and I just seen it and it's like fall knitting plans or something. And in my head I was like, yeah, I'll do a fall knitting, autumn knitting plans. I'll do an autumn knitting plans thing, because I am once again in that place of like, I kind of finished and wrapped up like a lot of my knits. Like I finished a lot of whips. I've only got a couple of whips left on my needles. Obviously now I'm looking for more stuff to knit, and it's coming into autumn, so it's like the perfect time to like make a little list and tell you what it's gonna be and think about the yarn. Probably it would make sense to do that after the yarn festival. Anyway, do people listen to the end bits of like podcasts? I actually don't know, but I shall see you again soon is basically what I'm trying to say, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.